Not quite sure what to do with all those nuts, bolts, and pipes we've just sent you in the mail? Never fear. The following video is a step-by-step guide to assist you in setting up your very own Growing Native Kiosk. By the end of this video, you will be wiser, smarter, and utterly proficient in setting up Growing Native Kiosks. Shall we begin? Before we have you actually begin, here are a few things you should know. Number 1, you need an assistant. Assembling a kiosk requires 2 people. So grab your friend, your coworker, or your boss, not your grandmother, because we'll be lifting large pre-assembled kiosk parts. Number 2, please be sure to read through all the directions in your assembly guide and finish viewing this entire video before you begin assembling your kiosk. Number 3, work in a large, flat, well-ventilated area with enough room to move around and sort large pieces neatly. Number 4, wear clothes that can get messy. Be sure to dress appropriately. Number 5, make sure you have a stable chair or stepladder in order to finish assembling the top of the structure. So, grab some Gatorade, do some stretching, and plan to take the next 1 to 2 hours to assemble your very own Growing Native Kiosk. Here are the materials you'll need to complete your kiosk. 4 2.5 feet short pipes. 12 5 feet long pipes, 4 90-degree elbows, 2 3-way closed corners, 2 3-way open corners, 4 swivel sockets, 4 fixed T-sockets, 3 EMT set sockets, 8 pipe banding clamps, 4 mini cable clamps, 11 plastic zip ties, 1 O-ring, multiple sized hex key wrenches. You will also need 1 9-foot steel cable, 1 3-foot steel cable, a large Rubbermaid box, 3 Growing Native panels, laminated tree guide cards, brochures, drop-off procedures packets, bags for collection, and tags for labeling the nuts you've collected. Step 1. Assembling the base. Insert 2 long pipes into the bottom 2 holes in a 3-way closed corner. Do not clamp them down fully. When you insert the vertical pipe into the remaining hole, it must sit securely down into the bottom of the corner socket, and then the horizontal pipes can be pushed in the rest of the way and tightened down. Push a swivel socket down over the open end of each pipe and secure it loosely in the middle of the pipe. Close each pipe by putting an elbow joint on each open end with the empty sockets pointed up. Again, secure these loosely, as when you insert the uprights into the remaining holes, they must be seated down into the bottom of the joint. Repeat the same procedure on the other side. Step 2. Installing the base uprights. Begin by attaching the set sockets to the end of 3 short pipes. To attach, first make sure that all screws on the set sockets are unscrewed as far as possible, without fully removing them, and then insert the end of the pipe until it is halfway into the socket. Everything should match up so that 2 of the screws can be tightened to the clamp down on the pipe end, with room for another pipe to be seated into the other end of the socket in a later set. Insert the open ends of each of the 3 short pipes into the vertical open ends of the base you created in Step 1. Seat them all the way down and tighten. Then finish tightening the horizontal long pipes against the upright short pipes as described in Step 1. Step 3. Finishing the base. Measure 42.5 inches from the 3-way closed corner at the apex of the base to the inside edges of each of the swivel sockets you slipped on the horizontal pipes in Step 1. Take a long pipe and fit it into the open end of the tightened down swivel socket. Tighten the pipe in securely. You are creating a diagonal support piece to make the base sturdier. Insert the unsecured end of the long pipe into the other, unattached but marked swivel socket. Tighten the attachment between the socket and the diagonal pipe, and then adjust the swivel socket along the base pipe until it lines back up with the mark you placed at 42.5 inches. Tighten securely. You have now completed the base of the kiosk. Set it aside for later assembly. Step 4. Assembling the top of the kiosk. Using 2 long pipes, 1 3-way closed corner, the remaining 2 swivel sockets, and 2 elbow joints, assemble a base in exactly the same way you did for step 1. Insert a short pipe into the open ends of the swivel sockets on the horizontal pipes. The swivel sockets should be tightened down 22 inches out from the center joint. Measure exactly as you did in step 3. Step 5. Installing the top uprights. Insert 3 long pipes into each of the open upwards facing sockets. Try to ensure that these stick up perfectly straight. Slip 2 3-way open corners over the top of the center upright pipe so that the open sockets make up the same 90-degree angle as the base. Tighten slightly. Slip 2 fixed T-sockets over the top of each of the side upright pipes so that their open sockets face the openings of the joints you just attached to the center upright pipe. Tighten slightly. Step 6. Installing the panel supports. You should now be able to insert 4 long pipes into the empty holes of the sockets you just affixed to the uprights. This may involve some wiggling of the uprights to get the pieces to fit together, and you may need to remove and replace some of the pieces you've just put on in order to make all the attachments work. You will adjust the height of these panel supports after you have joined the top and bottom halves to one another. You have now completed the top of your kiosk. Step 7. Attaching the top and bottom. Now, leaving the top half upside down, lift up and flip over the shorter bottom half of the kiosk. Using a step ladder or a helper, pick up the bottom half of the base, point it up, and match the uprights together, seating the 3 set sockets over the open uprights. Then you will need to screw down the lower 2 screws of each set socket. Now flip the entire structure over carefully so that it is oriented correctly. You will need to make sure that the bars are securely fitted into the set sockets and align the frame so that everything is straight. Step 8. Finishing the kiosk. Pass one end of the 9-foot steel cable through the U-shaped hole in a mini cable clamp. Although not shown here, you need to loop the end around the topmost corner elbow joints and thread it back through the cable clamp. Pull the loop very snugly against the elbow joint and then tighten the nuts on the clamp. Then repeat on the other side. If your kiosk is still unpainted metal, now is the time to spread out a tarp and spray paint the whole thing hunter green. Wait several hours for the paint to dry before moving on to hang the panels and banner. Using a crescent wrench, remove the bolts from the pipe banding clamps. Be sure you save all 8 bolts and nuts. By spreading each banding clamp apart, snap 2 over the middle and bottom cables. Lift up each panel and install facing into the kiosk triangle by moving the banding clamps along the horizontal bars so that their holes line up with the holes punched in the top and bottom of each panel. Push the bolts through the clamps and panel holes from front to back and secure with the nuts. Here's a view of the procedure from behind. Thread all the laminated tree ID cards onto the O-ring. Attach the O-ring to one of the horizontal bars using a zip tie. Now it's time to transport your kiosk to its designated location and position it for safety, maximum visibility, and volunteer accessibility. Use good judgment, avoid windy locations. Place the large Rubbermaid tub at the base and secure the tub to the kiosk by looping the 3-foot steel cable through one handle of both the tub and lid. Secure with a mini cable clamp. Attach the other end of the cable to one of the kiosk pipes. Using plastic zip ties, attach the brochure holder via the slots on its back side to one of the uprights above a set socket to hold it vertically in place. Fill with brochures, collection bags, tags, and announcements. Tape the laminated seed collections procedure document on top of the lid. Place 2 sandbags on top of the bottom horizontal supports to anchor the kiosk against strong winds. Congratulations! You've assembled your Growing Native Kiosk. Still confused? Missing a part? Out of brochures, collection bags, or tags? Contact Deanna and she'll be glad to help you out.